For example, working hard can lead to a level of stress, anxiety, strain, control, discipline, force, frustration, disappointment, lack. These are all feelings I'm sure you're familiar with when it comes to pursuing a goal, when it comes to reality creation, when it comes to your job, your work, when it comes to doing little things around the home. In fact, there's a whole book about power versus force by Dr. D. Hawkins. And essentially, what we have to realize is that a higher vibration is a vibration that is in tune and in the rhythm of reality. And unfortunately, most of us are out of alignment with the rhythm of life, with the rhythm of reality. So when we're out of tune, what does that lead to? It leads to feeling tired, fatigue, sickness, loss of enjoyment, feeling like what you're doing is a chore or a job. You procrastinate, and then God tests you too, like gives you situations and circumstances that take you away from your goal. Oftentimes when we're in this force energy, we lose sight of the goal, we lose sight of the outcome, and we lose sight of what's most important to us. James Clear from the book Atomic Habits says, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And so if you're doing habits, goals, reality creation, and you're using too much willpower, too much force, too much trying to get it done, too much grind, too much hustle, without the opposition of surrender, letting it go, letting it be, then inevitably what's going to happen is the pendulum is going to swing. You're continuing to force, it's going to come back and it's going to hit you in the face. Inevitably what happens then is we feel and experience pain, the emotion of pain or suffering or anxiety or frustration or fatigue or procrastination or whatever it is. And we are starting to rewire our brain to a point where force or effort is leading to no reward. It's actually leading to pain. And so we start to create neural associations that say, anytime I take action, something painful is going to happen. And then it just leads to a perpetual loop of procrastination and resistance and lack of consistency. And then what happens? Well, we get a new idea, we get some inspiration, some motivation, and we get pumped up once again. And we don't realize that the universe or God is teaching us how to create new systems. It's trying to show us this system that you're using right now doesn't work. And we need to try something different. We need to try a new approach. And let's be very clear, we live in the matrix, and we got to understand that we've been taught by the agents to work in a specific way. We've been taught by the agents to follow the rules. We've been taught by the agents of society to do what they do in the way that works for them. And that's putting us out of tune with who we are, and that's putting us out of tune with our true power. So why implement a failing system? Why repeat the same thing over and over again expecting different results? So you must surrender in your action, because action is an emotion. I want to repeat that again. Action is an emotion. This took me years and years to figure out, because I thought action was pushing yourself, willing yourself, making sure you get it done. And this is actually unattractive to the thing that you are wanting, the reality that you want to create. This is unattractive to the universe. Now, you're watching this video right now because you have somewhat of an enjoyment. Maybe you like that you're learning new information. Maybe you're learning something that you've never heard of before or never processed or thought of, or maybe I'm confirming something that you already know. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. In other words, it's giving you something. And up until now, you probably disappeared. What do I mean by that? I mean, your mind disappeared. You stopped thinking. You went into the flow state. You were gone. You were present in the moment. You're not putting in any effort to listen or watch this. But now that I mentioned it, you might be a little bit out of that flow state, a little bit out of the ease, and maybe you need to focus a little bit more. Have you noticed sometimes when you are talking to someone on the phone, or perhaps you are playing a video game, or you are watching TV, or you're playing a sport, or driving home from work, that sometimes your mind totally disappears. Your thoughts totally disappear, and sometimes you even forget how you got from work all the way home without actually thinking about driving. We don't think about walking, we don't necessarily think about breathing all the time, and these are automated systems. These are not systems where you're actually trying. These are not systems where you're putting in effort. These are all systems where you've actually had a level of surrender, a surrender of inaction. And this happens oftentimes when you're enjoying something. When you're having the feeling of enjoyment, then then time disappears. We all have that saying, time disappears when you're having fun. Usually, you don't need to put in effort to enjoy something. Neither do you need to put in surrender to enjoy something. You just play. Just like young kids playing, they're just present with life and enjoying it. So like I said previously, action is an emotion. But what is an emotion? An emotion is an energy. What is an energy? Well, energy is God or is or the universe or Allah, Jesus, Krishna, whatever name or label you want to put on it. So action is God. Everything leads back to source when we really think about it. All we have to do is go a level up each time. It doesn't matter what emotion you're feeling. If you're feeling despair or anxiety or fear, all you got to do is go up one level and be like, what is fear? No, fear is an emotion. Okay, if fear is an emotion, what is an emotion? An emotion is an energy, okay? If emotion is an energy, then what is an energy? An energy is source. And when we do this, we can transcend the labels that we have pressed upon us and realize that when we are playing with the universe or playing with God or playing with the screen of life, because the screen of life is a mirror, a reflection of what's going on within, we can radically transform our lives. But if we hold resistance, if we hold force, if we hold push, willpower, if we hold pain, anxiety in our system, we get a reflection of that in the external world because our perspectives bring that into our reality through the reticular activating system. You can have one scenario and two different people looking at the same scenario, and one person can look at it in a negative way and another person can look at it in a positive way. Ultimately, everything that we want to create in our reality is neutral. It's nothing. And we got to realize that everything is you. So why need, want, and desire? As soon as we apply need, want, and desire, it can step into the energy of forcing and willing and trying to get something, attain something. And all we're doing when we do that is creating a void within. We're creating a space within, thus creating more of a void outside. Whereas if you're in the energy of this energy, whatever that is, it doesn't matter. Play, I'm enjoying life, you attract more things to experience play. Now, I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the world, and I've experienced working with celebrity clients and celebrity influencers. I have tons of testimonials, and I've been able to experience a life of freedom. Right now, I'm living in Mexico, and I was able to achieve this by understanding that we need to understand that action is an emotion. And if we feel good about something, it becomes something that we don't have to force or will ourselves to do. Now, here's the challenge. Here's the problem. We are doing things that we don't enjoy, or we're doing things in a way that we don't enjoy, or there's things that we have to do in order to get to the goal. There's things that we have to implement in order to achieve the goal. And oftentimes it requires what we call discipline in order to achieve that. For example, someone might want to lose weight. Sometimes you have to exercise and eat in a certain way and eat certain foods in order to achieve that. And the brain doesn't always want to do that. And so we're fighting or forcing ourselves to eat in a certain way. The other day, I didn't like to eat parsley. And so what did I do? I chopped it up very finely and I mixed it in with something else, another food, and I was able to consume it easily. I couldn't even taste it anymore. So now I'm consuming a healthy food that I don't like the taste of and getting all the nutrients and benefits of consuming this specific food. If you don't like going to the gym, then don't go to the gym, because you're going to have to use so much force and so much willpower that it's going to drain and deplete your life force. It's going to drain and deplete your energy, which you could allocate to actually doing something that you do enjoy and gain energy from. For example, it might be dancing. And so you're gaining energy from doing this activity whilst hitting the goal of exercise. For example, for me, I love to skate. When I skate, it becomes addictive and I can't stop. And at the end of the day, my legs are aching. And what we have to realize is that I'm exercising whilst I'm skating, but I'm doing something that I enjoy. So there are things in life that I don't want to do. But because I've eliminated most of the things that I don't like to do and I've replaced them with things that I enjoy, my work I enjoy, I'm able to do those more difficult things way easier. Moreover, what we've got to understand is that when we don't want to do something, sometimes we just need to find the dopamine in the process. For example, it might be playing music whilst you clean. Or for example, I didn't like managing my money. Like, I hated it. I'm more of a creative mind, spiritual, woo-woo person. And managing money felt controlling and restrictive. And so literally, I read all these books and courses and all this stuff about managing your money. And eventually, I just gave up. And I said, why don't I create my own system for managing my money that works for me? I don't like writing it down. I don't like writing a budget. I don't like using an Excel sheet. I don't like seeing all these numbers all over the place. I don't like doing all this stuff. And so I was never able to maintain the habit. I was never able to be consistent. I'd manage my money for a while and then it would fall off. You know what it's like. You start something and then you stop, you feel pain, and then you're like, oh, I'm getting motivated again, and then you start all over again. This is the dopamine loop that most people fall trapped into. They start a New Year's resolution, they get all excited in the beginning, and then that dopamine goes down. Why? Because you're not enjoying the process. So I designed an enjoyable process to manage my money. And now I'm consistent at managing my money because it gives me dopamine. It gives me a sense of enjoyment, semi-enjoyment. It's not difficult, it's not hard, it's in the middle point. It's in the sweet spot of what we call surrender and action. It's just in the isness. And this is kind of like playing a little bit. So I've created a document below this video which you can download, and you don't need to enter in your email or anything like that. And I've taken it from my Reality Mastery Inner Circle. And you can join the club if you would like to. There's a link in the description as well, where you can find out more about creating abundance, managing money, manifesting the life of your dreams, being able to shift your identity, and much, much more.